Hi everyone, Tristan from School Synthesis here, just with a quick little Synthwave sound design tutorial. So I'm using Ableton Live and Carbon Electra in this example, but the sound design techniques should carry over just fine into any subtractive or analog style synthesizer you have, whether it's hardware or software. So these are going to be some pretty basic patches just to kickstart your Synthwave productions, but one thing you'll notice is that very subtle changes can have a very dramatic effect on these patches. This is both a good thing and a bad thing. On the negative side, you can spend hours and hours just making fine changes and tweaks to sounds. But on the positive side, you can very quickly add some very cool modulation to sounds, or you can very quickly transform one sound into something else entirely, which we'll show very soon. So, to get things started, I've just got a kick drum pattern here. The first thing I think of with Synthwave is a kind of 80s 4-on-the-floor kick drum, and so I've just found some cool 707 kick drum samples. There are a bunch of them included with Ableton Live, or you can go to your preferred search engine and just type in 707 samples. You'll find something pretty easily. But here we go, just a 4-on-the-floor pattern. Sounds like this. Okay, we're off to a good start. Next, I'm going to create a new MIDI track. Let's call this one bass. And I'm going to bring in my go-to Carbon Electra synthesizer. Let's drop that in. Maybe drop the volume depth back a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to bring up a pair of sawtooth waves. Let's reset these envelopes. This is kind of my default getting started envelope formation here. Alright, let's detune that second oscillator. Thicken up a bit, and let's drop it down an octave. So we got kind of a sub-oscillator arrangement happening. Cool, that sounded pretty good already. Let's bring up the release to get rid of that click. Alrighty, let's drop off that filter cutoff, darken it up a bit. And introduce a bit of modulation with this modulation envelope control. Okay, it's really these three settings here that we're going to really finely tweak. And like I say, subtle changes can make a huge effect on the sound. So let's see what we can come up with. Bit of resonance. Okay, that's sounding pretty synth-wavy to me. Okay, that'll do for the moment. Now we could go and program in a very intricate pattern or melody, but I like to use arpeggiators because it makes things sound a bit more organic and alive, and it's cool to have things interacting in these more kind of organic ways. So let's go to our MIDI effects, drag an arpeggiator in front of Carbon Electra here, and change it to 16th notes. Okay, the next thing we're going to tweak is the gate setting here. So some tracks might call for a more of a staccato-y sort of sharp sound. Other tracks you might want to bring up the gate length to get more of a loose, sleazy sound. So let's play around with that a little bit. That's a shorter gate sound. Let's bring up the gate length. Okay, that sounds better to me. Let's leave it around 100% somewhere. Okay, so here's the bass drum with a kick. Nice, we're off to a good start. To make things easier, let's just create a new clip on our bass track here. Let's find the note we were playing. It was like a low E. There it is. Go to our pencil tool and just drag in, or draw in a 1-bar note. Just like that. Okay, so now when we play this clip with the kick drum, it sounds like this. Alright, so far so good. The only issue here is that the kick drum's really stepping on the bass. We want to get that classic kind of sidechain compression sound we hear so much in Synthwave. If you don't know what sidechain compression is, it can sound complicated, but it's actually a very simple concept. So compressor is going to drop back the volume of the bass, and the sidechain just means it's only going to kick in when another instrument is playing, in this case the kick drum. So let's go to our bass track, go to our audio effects, find a compressor, drop that in after Carbon Electra. So we've got an arpeggiator, go into our instrument, go into a compressor. Alright, let's open up the compression settings. Here's our sidechain, let's turn that on, and tell it to listen to audio coming from the kick. And now it's just a matter of bringing down the threshold until it sounds the way we want to. Let's have a listen now. Nice, there are quite a lot of other controls here we can tweak, but that's really the effect we're after, so let's leave it at that for the moment. I don't think we have to do too much more to that. If you do want to go one step further in the 80s category, Carbon Electra has a cool effect here called chorus. We can just turn that on. sounds pretty good to me. All right, let's create another track here. Let's make a new MIDI track, and I'm going to call this pad. This is going to be more of a stringy sort of synthy sound. Let's go back to a bass sound. I'm just going to copy that Carbon Electra instance and paste it into our new pad track. Okay, exactly the same settings, just without the arpeggiator and the compressor. So it sounds like this. Oh, let's drop that back a bit. Okay, we're going to turn this into a pad sound. So let's start off by bringing the second oscillator back up in tune. And maybe we'll open up that filter a bit. Open up the decay time a bit as well. Bit shorter. Bit darker as well. Maybe a bit more modulation. Bit slower decay. Alright, that's sounding pretty good. We can thicken things up by adding some unison to our first oscillator here. Let's try that without the chorus. Cool, that's pretty good. We can add more voices, more unison voices down here. Detune them all with this knob. And add some stereo width with this knob. Cool, that sounds pretty good to me. Let's just record a little progression quickly. Okay, that's good for a start. I kind of want our bass pattern to change a bit here, so let's turn this 1-bar loop into a 4-bar loop. Just hit duplicate twice, and let's drag up these last two notes one whole step. Cool, let's try that now. Okay, we're getting there. Let's go back to our bass track and grab that compressor and throw it onto our pad sound so that everything's got that sidechain compression effect going. Not bad, but I want to play around with these settings a little bit. Let's bring the release and the attack right down, and then I'm just going to slowly increase the release until it sounds the way I want it. Maybe a bit of attack. Just about there. Okay, we could spend a bit more time tweaking that. Maybe open up the filter a little bit. And a bit less envelope. Just about there. Okay, let's bring in a bit of reverb as well, just to wash things out a bit. It's normally about this time you probably want to revisit your bass track, so let's make it a bit more evil sounding by opening up that filter. It can sound a bit more brooding when it's a bit more open. Nice, just about there. Obviously we'll need a bit more tweaking here, but we're off to a good start. Alright, this has just been a basic little synthwave sound design tutorial introduction, but stay tuned for more videos, and thanks for watching.